So the other day, we finally got the big devlog for Battlefield 2042 and confirmation that there would be support continuing after Season 5. But the nature of that support is still really vague and has caused a lot of speculation. I don't want to bore you all too much by recapping what's coming with Season 5. I'll link some relevant videos below if you want to hear about all of those changes. As a broad stroke, it's things like an overhaul to vehicle loadouts, new attachments for vault weapons, the new map that appears to be based on Zavod from Battlefield 4, a reworked hourglass, new gadgets and weapons, and a host of quality of life improvements. The end of the devlog, though, was where the most interesting line came in regarding continued updates after Season 5, and that's what I wanted to take the time to talk about today. I'll play it now for those of you that need the context.
Longer term, we're continuing to work on the game beyond Season 5. We're committed to continuing the Battlefield 2042 journey, and are working through the best ways to bring new content and experiences for you all. Expect to hear more from us on what's planned in the coming months.
So this line has created quite the stir. More pessimistic takes I've seen online have surmised that we may only see one additional season, or maybe even just a couple of very small balance changes, and that DICE really doesn't want to say this specifically so that players might continue playing the game, buying it, or paying for microtransactions in the store. On the flip side, I've seen some extremely optimistic people thinking that this is the coveted full year 2 of support with all the bells and whistles and more. I don't think we've seen a strong indication of either of these things, and in my mind, with a background in software development and a corporate environment, I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I get an extremely strong impression that everything that was pre-planned for seasonal content will have run its course by the end of Season 5. This means most, if not all, of the new weapons and maps that were planned for the game will have been released, all of the seasonal events, and all of the cosmetics that typically populate the Battle Pass. I wouldn't even be surprised if most of this was supposed to come out in the span of 4 seasons, but with the addition of reworking existing features and maps, that some of this got stretched out to 5. While I'm sure there has been some work and planning done for content beyond Season 5, I think if DICE has had an internal roadmap for new content since the launch of the game, it will have mostly been satisfied by the end of Season 5. With that, I think by saying they're evaluating the best ways to bring experiences and updates to the game, they're actually working through whether or not seasons are the method they want to stick with for delivering new content. To make this a bit clear, I think we need to consider what a season actually is in Battlefield 2042. It's not just 14 or 15 weeks of playtime. As far as we've seen, a season consists of 1 or 2 reworked maps, 1 new map, some new weapons and vault weapons, balance changes, quality of life features, a mid-season event, new cosmetics in the store and the theme of the event, some weekly missions, and 100 tiers of a battle pass that consist mostly of cosmetics to unlock. Most of this comes in one massive update at the beginning of the season, with a couple of smaller updates that follow. So with this definition of a season, future updates may not look exactly like this. Maybe there's no battle pass. Maybe there are fewer cosmetics that would populate such a battle pass. Maybe there are no more seasonal events planned. Obviously, there will be no more map reworks to do. But there may still be some balance changes and overhauls, new features and quality of life improvements, new maps, new guns, more vault weapons, additional gadgets, and new vehicles. Maybe even some new systems like naval traversal. And if something like this is the case, DICE may not want to specifically say there will be a Season 6 or Season 7 or Season 8, because the word season implies all of the things I described before. It creates a certain expectation that they may not want to stick to. While they may still want to give us the same amount of gameplay additions, the periphery content may be more sparse. Maybe they simply want to get away from doing one massive update with all of the content and would prefer to deliver more frequent, smaller updates. Either way, I get an extremely strong feeling that this discussion is still ongoing and there's no final decision as of yet. It may be in late stages, but this kind of thing happens all the time in my own experience, and executives and product managers can be real sticklers over the most minute details, even down to using one word over another. You'd be surprised the types of things that block the announcement of features. Some might think it's late in the game to be having discussions like this, but again, in my experience, I often see these discussions continuing well into the implementation phase, so I don't think this is really anything out of the ordinary. Personally, I envision a change in the way that content is delivered in Battlefield 2042. Instead of skins and new weapons and vehicles being behind Battle Pass tiers, I suspect that they might be behind challenges, maybe similar to the Vault Weapon Unlock challenges, or maybe even leveraging the existing weekly challenges since they would need a new reward without an accompanying Battle Pass. Probably a mixture of both. I predict we'll get at least another couple seasons worth of content in regards to new additions. It's just that the way we get that content will shift. Personally, I'd love to see this happen. I really don't like Battle Passes in video games and the way that they force players to grind game time rather than doing a fun challenge or rewarding skill in the game. There's just too much time between now and the next Battlefield release to leave this game floundering after Season 5. And I don't really care anymore about cosmetic rewards. I'd rather have more focus put on gameplay related content. We'll see over the next couple of months. I'm sure DICE also wants to focus attention on Season 5 instead of distracting players from it, so I suspect we'll get much meatier pieces of information in the second half of the season. And that about does it for me and my thoughts, and I want to hear from all of you. What do you think DICE's support of the game will look like after Season 5? Do you think my guesses make any sense? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to talk about it. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next video.